Welcome back to Rise and Shine, the Ability Connection Colorado podcast. My name is Jared Iwi, and this is where we talk to the people who move us, sometimes emotionally and physically, literally, like Mark Deschamp today, who is the founder of 5280 Mobile, helping people adapt to the world around them with the equipment they need. And he's also a big help with Ability Connection Colorado. He shows up regularly to our Straight Shot Sporting Clay event, which is August 7th. He and his dad will be there again, August 7th at Sporting Clays. Thank you, Corey and crew. It is an incredible event where you get to have so much fun and help Ability Connection Colorado, which in turn we help over 50,000 people every year. So today, talking to Mark about Spina Bifida and its origins, talking to him about disabled. Is that the word we still want to use? Talking to him about being inspired and moved emotionally by the opportunities for people with disabilities, or whatever that word is that we come up with. Or does there even need to be one? Well, we'll get to that. First off, Mark, how are you doing? How's the summer going?
It's been interesting. I had my van. It's an older van. It's 2009. I had it in the shop for 3 months and 2 days.
What does that mean for you?
It's pretty much home, unless my dad can help me around, which he did, of course, but not so much travel to accounts, etc. for me. But then again, things have been in kind of a transition for me with my job. I am a rehab equipment sales representative on the manufacturer's side, manufacturer's rep. And at one time, I've had as many as over a dozen manufacturers I work with, and currently I have 2. So that's kind of changed quite a bit. There's a lot.
Why is that changed? What is there something that is socio-political or is just pure business?
There's a lot. It's more business. There's a lot of mergers and acquisitions in the industry going on. Some of the bigger groups like Sunrise Medical, they're trying to have their hand in everything, which, it's fine. So you've got a lot of little manufacturers getting scooped up, etc. So I've just kind of, and then too, since COVID, things have been a struggle, sales-wise for me, and I don't know exactly what all's going on. But I've had some manufacturers say we're going to look for another rep, so I've moved on.
Wow, so you're weathering this to the point of being still out there and making a living?
Yeah, yep. So in addition to that, still part of organizations that just on the volunteer side and organizing side. So
well, here's what I know about it. I know you're extremely active. I've seen you at Clay shooting clay pigeons. And I was wondering before we got to that, what does Spina Bifida mean? What does it mean to have Spina Bifida? How does someone end up with Spina Bifida? I think you're born with this,
Sure.
No?
Yes. Spina Bifida is the #1 birth defect in the world. And it's called the snowflake defect because we're all different. They don't know there's no one cause for it. Mine has been traced to, my particular case has been traced to my dad's service in Vietnam and exposure to Agent Orange, if you've heard of that.
Yes, I had no idea that could end up a genetic issue.
Yeah. And there's actual genetics too. It's somehow in people's genes for years, and they pass it down. Mine is kind of more environmental, as I say. But I've seen too, like here in the States, the prevalence is 1 in 8,000 births officially, roughly, somewhere around there. I've heard of Argentina, I believe it was, where their mining regulations are a little lax. The prevalence in those districts of Argentina, the prevalence can be 1 in every 250 births, roughly. So it's very high. It could be water contamination. We don't know. There's a lot of different like I say, snowflake. Everybody's different.
So you were born into a world that wasn't built for you. I'm not sure if I
Correct.
said that right, but you've done a lot of adapting.
Yes, yes. It's just a want to be part of the world, and what do I have to do? And I'm 49 this year. I'll be 50 next year. So I've seen a lot. I have a sports camp that I'm part of the organizing crew and um, one of the main volunteers. When we started that in 43 years ago, I believe it is. Yeah, 43. There were 6 adaptive sports available. Now there's 2 dozen or more sports available. Um, and ADA came out in 1990s.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
it's
it is
it's just
this month. I think July 26th
yeah,
is was when it was signed, and therefore July is Disability Awareness Month.
yeah, yeah. And I'm also very fortunate. We're very fortunate to be in Colorado. We're one of the leading states for disability opportunities. Sorry, I get a little emotional here. Um, National Sports Center for the Disabled, one of the first national disability skiing programs in the country, if not the world. Wilderness on Wheels, which I'm a part of on the board. We're the oldest nature trail accessible campground outdoor activity um, organization center in the country, and we're
I
40
have
years old this year.
I have
So,
seen Wilderness on Wheels, and I've seen when you're driving out on 285. I think there's a.
yep.
Are you familiar? You work out there
Yeah, yeah.
in that
The
camp?
camp is just beyond Grant, Colorado, right at the as you start to go up Kenosha Pass. It's on the south side, I believe it is, depending on how the 285 is oriented there. As you're going from Denver, it's on the left side. So, and it's we have huts, we have cabins, we have fishing ponds that are accessible, tent platforms that are accessible. Um, yeah, it's a really, really cool place. Sports camp that I work with is also really cool.
I want to know. I think when I come across someone with a passion that moves them to the point of almost tears, I want to know what exactly happened there. What were you thinking when you got emotional? Because I think that will mean a lot to people.
I think the biggest thing is that still these organizations are still around. Who would have thought when I was a kid those organizations would come about? And yet, like I said, I'll be 50 next year. They're still here. They're still going. And how many people have they affected in that time? You know, I've I've been a um, actively. I was a camper at sports camp the first 10 years. Took a little time off to go to college, get my first job, etc. Came back about 15, 20 years ago as a volunteer, and I've seen those kids for the last 20 years. You know, and they're still active and doing things. Some are Paralympians. Um, and then some of my friends that I've grown up with, yes, some have passed, but uh, the rest are out there active, working, having some fun, enjoying life. And that's what matters.
What did that feel like as a kid being a part of something like that?
I was just a kid. It was all just fun and games to me. I was meeting people just like me in a wheelchair, almost full time, just having some fun, playing around. It's only hit me as adult as what that really pushed me to be more active. Doing stuff. Family had something to do with it as well. But I just there was community and camaraderie that I really took from that and wanted to give back. The sports camp as well, it was started by one of my a therapist and her husband, several of my coaches over the years for basketball, tennis, that kind of stuff, as well as doctors from Children's Hospital that were part of it. And it's pretty powerful, what they've done.
Well, you must be strong. I mean, having to everywhere you go cross an extra bridge as far as doing what's necessary in a world that's not been built around someone in a wheelchair.
It's it's a desire. My mother was a social studies teacher. My dad's an engineer. It was always an attitude of, okay, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna accommodate? Still have it, a 3-wheel bike I've had since before I could use it. I was so small. But that was given to me, bought by one of my grandparents. I had another little orange car, row car, as we call it. Just row it to move it, little thing that I fit into. And my brother'd go out, we'd go out down the street and play with the neighbors, or we'd go to the lake near the house, etc. It was always a get out and do something, type of thing. But then too, like I travel now. I'm doing a podcast or a webinar here pretty soon, later today, about accessible travel. I love to travel, and just see other places, the history that my mom's talked about for years. And, Dad's a big World War II enthusiast, seeing that kind of stuff. But also, I get out there and, there's talking, French are, not real friendly. Baloney. They're nice. They're wonderful people. And I've been to countries, think some people might call them third world, but people are so like, how can we help you? Let's get you in here. Let's get you, whatever it took. We were going to find a way to do stuff, and I've found that everywhere, everybody's willing to help. And so why not? Why do I sit home? I shouldn't, because there's, if I can't figure it out myself, there's always somebody there to help me.
It sounds like you were raised in an environment where they were like, Mark, figure it out.
Yeah.
The world isn't going to take a break for you.
Yeah. Right.
Well, are you going to be at the clay shoot this year with Ability Connection Colorado?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Already registered. Dad's coming. I think I might have a couple other people coming too. We'll see. Hopefully they can.
I don't know if I should do. Well, I'm going to ask you. If you can. I want to take a clip out of this podcast of you helping us get sponsors, because we need sponsors. Can I get you to ask the world for sponsors for the Ability Connection Colorado, and why?
Okay. Oh God.
No pressure.
Put me on the spot, Jared.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Deschamp here. No pressure.
So, gosh, what can I say? My support of Ability Connection is, I was actually looking for Cerebral Palsy of Colorado, different organizations that have, helped the different disabilities. And I find out that the Ability Connection Colorado used to be, or has now come from Cerebral Palsy Colorado, and they're helping all disabilities. And that's to me, that's awesome, because there's so many disabilities out there where there's just a few people. They're so rare that they don't have an organization for them, So Ability Connection kind of takes it all in and just works with everybody, advocates for everybody, and that's what I mean. We're all a community here. The disabled community, or disability community. I hate that word, disabled, almost. We're able, just in different ways, and I hate differently abled because it's a mouthful.
Yeah.
But we're all in this together. Let's all help each other. It's community. We're all human, and we should all be treated that way. We should all have the ability to do whatever we want to do, and whoever we want to meet, etc. And that's one of the reasons I support Ability Connection Colorado. In addition, my dad's a old farm boy, ranch boy. We learned gun safety many years ago, and we shot clays years ago, and this is stuff that we like to do to raise money. The black tie galas and stuff. Yeah, but I don't like to get dressed up. I'd rather
Exactly.
go
You
up
can go out in the woods and have some fun and raise money for a
right.
good cause.
Exactly. Exactly. We're always having fun out there, getting some exercise, meeting some new people. So that's what it's all about. The ability connection, the clay shoots. And Dad's asked me, when is it? Every year we look for it on the calendar. So
Perfect. Thank you. Under pressure, and he gets it done. I was going to ask you, you said you don't like the word disabled, and
hmm
it's everywhere. I mean, this is Disability Awareness Month. What do you want people to, how do you want people to talk about it?
I've struggled with that forever. All of my friends, I don't like cripple. I don't like, but I've got friends of my friend Josh Winkler, Cripple Concepts is his company. So he doesn't care, and we all shouldn't, but the whole, disabled to me, it's like we're not disabled, we just do a little different than you.
Yeah, I
So
mean, just
what?
different. I mean, differently abled, as you said, is a mouthful. And it just sounds like someone's working too hard to address you. Like, Mark's
Right.
a human. Can
Right.
you just talk to him without 37 syllables?
Yes. Thank you, Jared. Thank you. Yes.
You're
I
welcome. The
mean, yeah,
least I could
I'm a
do.
person. Yeah, I use a wheelchair. So what? I'm human. I'm a person. There shouldn't be labels, but yet there are. And, prior to, our grandparents, generation, I would have been institutionalized, Thank God we're not anymore. But yet we still have those labels of disabled, or cripple or whatever. I don't know if we'll ever get rid of it. I hope eventually, but I don't know where to go. I mean, is there a good label, positive label, that doesn't take me 5 minutes to say?
Yeah, and does there need to be?
No, I don't think so. But yet, we kind of, society seems to look at, categorize people. And I can't get rid of it.
Yeah, I know people call me able-bodied, and I'm like, I don't know, you should live in this for a minute, and I don't know if you'd agree.
Yeah, right?
There's issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have a
yeah.
question. You were in this story. The Spina Bifida Association did an article
Uh-huh.
with you on the challenges of finding adult care. How is that process going?
Boy. So finding somebody, specialist or a general practitioner that knows spina bifida, when they get taught about spina bifida, it may be for 30 minutes in a lecture. That's it. Because again, like Ability Connection, you found that there's so many different disabilities out there, or so many different abilities out there, or conditions, or birth defects, or whatever. You can't talk about it all for a day or week or whatever. You'd be forever in school. So there's very few specialists in it. So here in Colorado, I found some good specialists, a few. I've also working with Spina Bifida Association and Children's Hospital. I was originally born in South Dakota, where my dad was family is from, and we moved here to Colorado. My mom grew up here, so there's a support system there, um, as well as better jobs for my parents, better health care with Children's Hospital. So we moved here to Colorado, and Children's Hospital Colorado, another amazing organization.
Yeah.
They have a spinal defects clinic for pediatrics, and I went there till I was 24 years old, and they said, "Well, we can't see you anymore. You're considered an adult." Okay. Um, they're working now very seriously, as I understand, to put together a adult clinic. They're going to find the specialists that are willing to work with us and learn about us and see us through our golden years, or whatever you want to call them. So that's really promising to me. The people I've talked to about that, they're really serious about doing it and putting it together. They're putting it together, and I think it's going to happen. Um, so I'm excited about that.
So you can look ahead and feel good about things.
Yeah, yeah. It's I'm very anxious for it, because uh, right now I'm looking for a general practitioner, a regular doctor. My office just closed, so if I could go to somebody, that they put together, great. I got to find somebody an intern, but I know that a couple of specialists that I have, they're going to be part of it, as I understand. So I'm really looking forward to getting all of the specialists together because I've found, getting older that things are related. you know, the body's one system there that kind of feeds off each other. So you've got to what you might think is urological could be, something else. So I'm looking forward to somebody that can, or a team that's put together that recognizes that before I do,
Yeah.
instead of me bringing it to somebody and saying, is this something? Well, it might be. We don't know. Oh, great. Okay.
Is there a map that Spina Bifida lays out for lifespan or difficulties that may arise, or can it be static from now
It is
on?
definitely not static.
Okay.
We all age differently. What I'm really, what's really interesting, and I think this might have been the catalyst, the Spina Bifida Association of America. They put together a standards of care for the different for people with spina bifida of all ages, and they talk about in that standards of care changes in that come about in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. The oldest person I know here in Colorado, she's almost 80 years old. So that's prior to the 70s, 90% of us, or prior to the 50s, I should say, 90% of us didn't make it past 20 years old. So yeah, they've got those standards out there. We can present those to doctors that are willing to be proficient in spina bifida and work with us. We
So
just
you
got people.
you are pioneering on a chronological frontier. Your
Yeah,
generation and probably just the recent one.
yeah, yeah. The Spina Bifida Association of America. They've just really, I don't know how they put it together. um, there's clinical care meetings for people all around the world with spina bifida, and there's conventions, with professionals. So they've really come together and said, this is what we're seeing, and there's people in their 30s and their 40s and their 50s, and let's put it all together and give these people some help, and it's just been so good.
Well, I look forward to seeing you and your dad and friends at Clay
Absolutely.
August 7th at Colorado
August 7th.
Clays. Yep.
We will
And
be there.
there's breakfast and lunch and good times had by all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good times. I don't, was it breakfast burritos usually?
Yeah,
Yeah.
breakfast burritos,
Yep.
Santiago's.
Santiago's breakfast burritos. You can't beat them.
It's incredible. Easy to hold and consume, and coffee in
Absolutely.
one hand and a burrito in another. Yeah.
Yep. And if you like barbecue, I don't remember who the barbecue caterer is, but it's every
It's
year it's
good.
awesome.
Halliburton has been pulling up with this big truck,
Yes.
and it's magical. They kick open an awning and food pours out. It's incredible.
Yep. Yep.
You know,
And I encourage anybody, if you've wheelchair, if you've ever held a shotgun and you want to try it, go for it. As we have a blast, you know. 15 stations out in my wheelchair. It's a heck of a workout, but there's people to help you along the way. Every station, they're accommodating. If I gotta, change station positions, it's just a blast. You meet a wonderful group of people. Might only see them once a year, but wonderful group of people. Some great sponsors. We're always looking for more. Come on, guys. And
take
it's
it from
it's a
Mark.
fun time.
Well, thank you so much. Now, do you have your van back? Is it out of the shop now?
I do.
Okay,
Three
good.
months and 2 years to the day, or two days. Yep.
And
So
it's
I'm
running.
back, and yeah, hopefully nothing else. But then again, 260,000 miles, so you kind of have to figure something's gonna happen.
Yeah, no,
So
yeah, you're pushing that to some new limits. I
yep,
think
yep.
after a while, you get to a
So
point, it's just an organic relationship between you and the vehicle. How you're feeling is how it's feeling.
right, exactly.
You're
Yep.
driving
So
each other now.
its next challenge is in a few days. This weekend, my dad and I are going to the Calgary Stampede, and we're driving the whole way. So wish us luck.
Wow. Wow. Okay, Van. I'm on Team Van. That's impressive. Mark Deschamp, where else can people find you, or where would you want people to find you for business or your conversation you're having in a podcast you're doing?
Sure. So my business is 5280 Mobility, 5280 being the Mile High City,
And you can find
5280mobility.com.
them on LinkedIn.
Yep, LinkedIn. I'm also on Facebook, Mark Deschamp. You see my name there on the screen.
Yes.
What else? If you come up, can I plug a few
Let's
organizations here?
let's get it in there. Yeah.
Okay, so those, if you're into the clay shoots, you're into outdoors, August 1st, starting at 10:30 to 4:30. Excuse me, yeah, 11:30 to 4:30. Wilderness on Wheels. Look that up. I don't have the address, but it's off 285. We're doing our 40th anniversary party, and it's the oldest, like I said earlier, the oldest outdoor accessible camp in the country, and we're celebrating 40 years. Come up, see us. We got some food coming, catering truck. We got some bands, local bands playing, and see the boardwalk that goes up the mountain, cabins, huts, tent spaces. Come up and see us. And then those of you that got kids with disabilities, first or second week of June, this coming 2027, June 7th through the 11th, is Colorado Junior Wheelchair Sports Camp. We introduce you to over a dozen different sports, from murder ball or rugby to tennis, basketball, bocce, swimming, kayaking, all kinds of stuff. Come out and meet some kids. We had almost 80 kids this year, over 70 kids this year at sports camp. We're our 43rd year. So, and then
Well, and
I can't
Murder Ball may
forget.
have sounded scary, but there is a documentary about Murder Ball, which is very, very good,
Absolutely.
which will provide some context.
Go see the movie Murder Ball, or get it rent it on Netflix or something like that, I believe. But it's wheelchair rugby, and it's a wild and crazy game. But come and see it in person. Get in the chairs. The local team, the Harlequins, they put you in their chairs, and you can bash around and have some fun.